The first one is the news of Chris Hardwick. His ex-girlfriend, Chloe Dykstra, who he broke up with in 2014. She wrote an article, an essay, and she didn't name him in the essay, but it's obviously him.
Yeah, super easy.
So since that article came out, she talked about certain kinds of abuse and sexual abuse even.
So she didn't name him, huh?
She didn't name him.
It's so easy to figure out, though.
Yeah.
Like when you read the article, I sent it to you guys. When you read the article, it's pretty easy to figure out.
I have a problem with anybody who airs their laundry publicly like this in the public square, personally. If you have a problem with somebody, confront them, deal with it.
Because what her intentions...
Well, it's just revenge.
Well, her exact intentions were to get him fired from his shows, right?
That's right.
Like, that's the only reason you do it. Otherwise, you address it one-on-one, right?
That's exactly.
Because your intentions are to hurt the
100%.
person you're dealing with.
So then, and it did. And,
But see,
so mission accomplished, but I don't know what
Yeah,
that
there you
gets
go. Congrats, girl. So when you read it, though, like... She goes, oh, you know, people are going to read this, go, why don't you just leave him? Why don't you just do this? You should just not put up with it. But whose fault is that? Like, I know it's a self-esteem issue, but you have to take responsibility for that.
Of course you
do. My only issue, when I first read it, I went, okay. And she goes, he listed off these rules from day one. So he didn't drink, so he told me not to drink. He told me that he works all during the day, so I need to be there at night when he's there. Okay. And he listed the rest of these rules. No talking at dinner. Be ready for sex when I get home from work. And right off the bat, she says he was like this. So I go, all right, well, if I'm dating someone, they go, all right, Brendan, you can't drink, and I like to drink. I'm like, well, fuck you. And maybe it's a self-esteem issue or whatever. You're gonna put up with
matter.
it.
You still
but you have to own that.
You're responsible.
Yeah, that's
for the condition you're in.
That's you.
The personal responsibility, and part of like when you get taken advantage of like this, when you get bullied, when you're abused, and all of us have been taken advantage of. There are just different degrees, right? Some people obviously it's very, but
emotional.
When
abuse
you go
is what
through
they're
that,
calling
when
it.
you go through that, the idea is you can choose to be a victim from it, or you can get stronger and learn a lesson from it. And you know, so when do you take responsibility for it? Whether these are allegations, okay? So I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't want to get in. I know it's death by allegation now. I know it's death by accusation. I think I have a problem with that too. But I'm going to leave that to the side. I know Chris for a long time. I'm not going to say anything about it. I don't know her.
Here's where he's screwed, because I read it. I read the rules. I'm like, all right, so he's an asshole. That's fine if that's the way he treats women. Not saying that's fine, but that's his deal. He also has some issues the way he treats women. If those are all true. Sure. Not good. He's an asshole. All right, not my type of dude. I'm off the train. Should he lose all his jobs? Probably not. Then I kept reading. I went, well, he blackballed her from getting work. So she worked for his company. Sure. He got her fired from that. Yeah. And then for the rest of the jobs, he made sure she didn't get hired.
My question is this. That's from one person and their accusation. There has to be something close to due process, right?
But she's saying she has concrete evidence.
But do the companies that have fired him have proof? Or did they just fire him
the problem,
based on accusation? We are seeing this all the time. Mm-hmm. Just know that in that environment, you are next. Know in that environment, which is, remember, it's not what you think, it's how you think. It's methodology.
To me, if you're AMC or if you're Comic Con, so if he comes out and goes, actually, she hit me, she had these rules. How's that any different?
Right.
So is she going to lose whatever job she has? Because what we can't do is, let's say he did all this stuff and he blackballed from getting work and stuff like that. All right, he should be disciplined and lose some of those jobs. Yeah. We don't know, though.
Right.
So when you just post that and then AMC and everyone goes, oh, he's out. It's like, what if she's lying?
Right. We live in a time now where an accuser, right or wrong, all the power lies there, and that your entire livelihood can be destroyed off of an accusation without due process. And that's what it looks like, and that is very dangerous.
And I will also say this. So she will say, oh, I'm doing this to help others. I'm doing this. You're solely doing this to affect his work and to gain some sort of notoriety and fame. Of course. Let's be real here.
Of course.
Because if you want to have, there's other ways you can go about this.
Of course. And mainly to confront somebody on your own terms, as opposed to airing this all out in the public square. You're
just trying to hurt.
This was revenge.
Hardwick. Now,
and maybe she, we don't know the story, right? So maybe there was a situation where she was screwed over and she's getting back. But that's what this is.
But this is what she's left out of her thing too. That she cheated on him.
See, again, I don't know any of this.
Now what I do know is if he did those things, terrible person, right?
Absolutely.
That's fucked up to you, an asshole.
Get away from that.
But also, you should leave, so you got to take that responsibility. But also, she cheated on him, and according to Chris's records, he goes, she cheated on me. I broke up with her. She begged for me back, and he goes, she was telling me she wants to marry me, wants to have kids with me. He goes, if I was that bad to her, she was saying I'm the one. He goes, once she cheated on me, I lost all faith in her, so I didn't want to get back with her.
There are two sides of the story, right? There's two sides of the story and the truth, and nobody's lying or everybody's lying. Who knows? The bottom line
is
there's
a middle ground.
There are two sides of the story. Right now, we live in an environment where when you're accused, you lose everything. Mm-hmm. And that is very dangerous. And also, we're also at a point where I think that I don't care what your situation is, you are responsible. Personal responsibility has got to take precedence over everything else. I don't care. You're responsible. We are all responsible for the condition we're in. Yes, people suffer from abuse. Yes, they get into a situation where they're overwhelmed, where they can't get out of it. Of course. It still doesn't take away the idea that personal responsibility is crucial to an adult. And
there's also no physical, like he didn't hit her, but also she put, these were just a few, so she lists all the rules. I wasn't allowed to take pictures of them, and this is all from the jump. So the rules are very clear from the jump. Again, I don't condone it. He's an asshole if this is true. So she put, these were just a few of the rules, and I made the choice to accept his controlling behavior. And this is her justifying it. As he just left his long-term girlfriend, and I assumed that he was going through some serious emotional discomfort, that was a huge mistake.
So she's right. I mean, what she's saying is that when you're being abused, and you see this with women who are getting the shit beat out of them by their husband, they will make excuses for their abuser.
Correct.
It's very, very common. It's very human. You know, a lot of times with people who've been abused when they were kids or they were neglected or whatever, they will find ways, because they have very low self-esteem, to justify the abuse. Of course. And that is something that has to be worked on. It still doesn't take away from the fact that when you go through that, you have to reset. And as you get older, and maybe she's doing this now, you have to take responsibility. It'll never happen to me again, or I recognize this, and I'm telling younger people not to accept this, and all that stuff, right? There's value in this example, right? So my daughter will be told about something like this. My daughter will, for me, I'll always be like, if a dude's treating you like this, get the fuck out. Now, I'm her dad. Some women don't have a dad. Mm-hmm. Some women feel like a piece of shit. At the end of the day, though, it's up to all of us to figure out a way to take responsibility. My only issue with this is that I just have a problem with anybody airing this out publicly like this.
Well, my issue is
it destroys people.
Again, if this is all true from her side, and all right, asshole, he probably should lose his job. However, by him losing his job before we hear his side of the story or what we know is true, that's so fucked up, man.
Of course. And it's happening all the time. And just remember, all of us are next in one way or another. This has happened to women. How many times has it happened to women in history? She's a slut. What? Yeah, she's a slut. She fucks a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. A boss could just blackball a woman and did it all the time. She shouldn't get a job. Harvey Weinstein did this shit.
Well, according to,
her career's over.
Well, Hardwick did this, according to her, and there's some proof Hardwick did this to her, so she couldn't work anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
But the problem is we don't know who's true, but how we don't know what's true and then he loses jobs is insane.
Yeah.
But also, we have to be a little aware with this whole Me Too thing. A lot of people are doing it for attention. Yeah. Don't get it twisted like, oh, they're so brave. Brave, sure, but they're doing it for some sort of notoriety.
Of course. You're always going to have people like that.
Yes.
Of course.